Welcome back, Sports Underground. A little tangent there on the Vikings to end that last segment. I could go all day how upset I am about these guys.
It gets me very heated, but it's so hard to watch.
And I know we get repetitive because we are the negatives, but we're also the realists. I mean, go back to any video we've done from before the draft, and I think we're as accurate as anyone that's put anything out there to this point.
We're pretty spot on, I think.
I think so too. Everything we said has pretty much come true. So if you're not sure you believe what we're saying now, go back, check out the videos that are online, and just tell us if we're not better than most of the people out there. That's all I'm saying. So moving on to the rest of the NFL. A few big stories, obviously we talked about before. Packers looking to go undefeated. The 49ers out of nowhere. I know beginning of the season our question was kind of a joke, but will anyone go above 500 in that division? I guess the answer is yes, with an asterisk by it there.
I believe they wrapped up the division 3 weeks ago in week 5 or something.
I think they did. Actually, I believe they can be the second quickest team ever to clinch. Second team ever in week 10 to clinch, or 11th week with the byes. But
well, here's a hunch. Maybe we should have hired Jim Harbaugh.
He looks like a pretty good coach, doesn't he?
Or Mike McCarthy. I don't know.
Well, when they're ready to run Alex Smith out of town, every year before this, Jim Harbaugh says, "Nope, it's okay. Alex, I think you've got it." Brings him in. They're 9-1 right now. I think Jim Harbaugh knows a little bit about football. And being a quarterback himself, you think he had some insight for Mr. Smith?
It can't hurt.
Yeah, and they're kind of the same quarterback where Harbaugh was never going to light you up down the field, but he managed games. When the game was on the line, he did some things to come through. Probably the same kind of things instilling in Alex Smith. Don't lose us the game. We have a very, very good defense with Patrick Willis, who I thought the guy was good before this year. He's amazing right now.
Untouchable.
He is.
Wasn't Harbaugh the guy that took the Colts to the '94 playoff game against the Steelers?
Captain Comeback. He did. And it was one of the greatest games I've ever seen.
One of those Hail Mary, he was...
And I swear it was like an inch from being caught. If you look quick, the guy might have caught it, but upon further review, he didn't. But yeah, Captain Comeback, I mean, those are some great football memories back in the days of just letting your butt from everyone. I mean, that was the Bills, it was all that good stuff. The Oilers back in the day. So yeah, Harbaugh, been around the block. Under Mike Ditka, that guy got chewed out more than any quarterback I've ever seen. He almost got his face ripped off at the Metrodome.
I remember that
one time. So
enough about walk down memory lane. Let's talk about today here.
So yeah, the 49ers looking like the second best team in the NFC. Second best team in the NFL?
Record? Who's gonna? Can you argue them? Can they beat the Patriots?
Defensively, I want to say yes.
Can they beat Baltimore?
But I need
tied 3-3. How about that?
I need to see Alex Smith, when the game's on the line, come through more than against the Giants.
Okay, they beat the Giants, granted, at home. Mm-hmm. They beat the Eagles on the road.
The Cowboys got them at home, or got them at San Francisco in overtime. Their only loss. So, did they learn from that game? It seems like they did. But now, get me into January. Put Alex Smith in Lambeau, in a snowy, less than desirable weather situation. Does he got the moxie?
Yeah.
Can he compete with Aaron Rodgers?
Sure, right. That's a good question. But how about you put him even somewhere stupid like Cleveland? And let's say they just drop a game there. What are people going to say then? Oh, this team's not for real. But what if that happens?
But they went to Cincinnati.
They went to Detroit.
A fairly good Cincinnati team. They beat them. Now, it was ugly. It was really ugly. But isn't that the mark of a good team? No matter what happens, you come out with a W and you move to the next week.
It kind of reminds me of the Steelers.
Yeah. They do win ugly, absolutely.
They win.
When you look at the game and you go, what does Roethlisberger do? And also you look at the score and it's 17-13. There's a win for the Steelers.
They'll win 15-13 all on field goals. They don't care, right? But I'm just saying, hypotheticals or something. But as far as the Packers go, you know what? 16-0 is really hard. But they might win 25 games in a row or more.
Well, that's the thing is, since no one has done it since the Dolphins, you think they're going to trip up, and you look and say they've won 17 games in a row now. But
who's going to beat them?
I don't see it either.
The only team I could see maybe, and this is just a shot in the dark, someone like the Raiders, just playing out of their minds and somehow beating them 26-24.
Well, I think the Saints have a chance because offensively, they are just as explosive as the Packers. And in a game like that, you saw it on that first Thursday night game. A turnover here or there could really swing the momentum. If the Saints pick off Aaron Rodgers once and don't give the ball away themselves, maybe that's their advantage because the Packers couldn't stop them on that night, except on the goal line twice for some ungodly reason. But they might be...
That was tailor-made for Jimmy Graham.
Yeah, it really was. So there's your shot. But I'll tell you what, Niners, Packers, the contrast in styles, that would be a pretty fun game to watch to see if that defense can stop Aaron Rodgers because no one else can.
I agree. Teams are getting hot right now. How about Dallas?
Dallas is on. They're now in first place in the East. The dream team is done right off the Eagles. I know Vince Young won a game last week, but 2 interceptions, 3 interceptions. I think he had 2 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. He didn't look flashy. Now, somehow they got the win over a pretty good Giants team, I thought. I still don't think they're a factor. I think it's down to 4 or 5 teams. You've got the Packers, the Bears, if they get Cutler back.
I don't think they are.
I think he might be back for the playoffs. I don't know that, but they might be a factor. The Niners, the Cowboys.
Do you throw the Giants in there?
I don't throw the Giants in there. Now, I know that Eli Manning's won a Super Bowl. I just don't trust the guy. You can say whatever you want about him. I just don't trust the guy. And somehow Tom Coughlin, it's boom or bust with that guy.
I know. That's why I say the Giants can be scary good at scary right times. Mm-hmm. They can be scary good in December or January, and all of a sudden they're unbeatable, like the Packers were last year.
Right.
Packers weren't that good.
No, they weren't. If the Lions don't upset Tampa in Tampa for their first road win in about 2 centuries, the Packers don't even get in the playoffs. But it's all about timing, and looking at what they're doing this year, doesn't look like much of a fluke that they won it last year.
Not anymore.
Right.
Not anymore. But let's talk a little bit about Detroit. What do you think of them?
I think they're much improved. Ndamukong Suh with another boneheaded play today. He says he's not dirty. Once you stomp on a guy's chest back, you got to start to question, is the guy really a dirty player? And I think that distraction is not what a team like Detroit needs.
I like him. Every interview I've heard of him has always come off as respectful and as a stand-up guy. But some of his actions on the field, the guy's got a screw loose.
Yeah, and you need a little bit of that. You look at Jared Allen. That guy's halfway to crazy himself, but he doesn't do the dirty thing.
Ray Lewis actually killed somebody.
Allegedly.
Right, but, I mean, Sue was going to kill somebody on the field.
Yeah, he's going in that direction.
And I completely agree. That's exactly what I was going to say. A team like Detroit can't have that.
No.
They can't have that no matter what level that guy plays at. He's obviously more valuable on the field. On the field without any distractions and getting kicked out. He has to be on the field.
Oh, absolutely.
Obviously.
Yeah, you take that guy off the field,
good.
and that defense, all of a sudden, there's a guy that 2 people or 3 people are responsible for every play. If you don't have him going towards that, or those guys trying to take care of him, all of a sudden the Vanden Bosches aren't so good, the Farrellies aren't so good, and also you're exploiting D-back because there's not that pressure up the middle in the pocket trying to stop the quarterback.
And they're not that good.
Right. No, absolutely. Yeah, right. Absolutely. Yeah, if that defensive line goes down, Detroit's defense goes down.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
the way it works.
Exactly.